We're going to run a timed evolution number 2, which is a double reverse to a deluge on the ground. Here are the instructions that will be read to you at the time you come out for these drills. A minimum of 250 feet of 3-inch supply line deployed by way of double reverse lay from a baby deluge positioned on the ground. Equipment required at the deluge includes 2 SCBA, lights, spanner wrench, self-rescue tools, full PPE to include SCBA, but the crew does not have to be breathing supplied air during this evolution. Hydrant connection shall be done by the way of a soft suction. Going along with those instructions, since this is a video, I'm going to break this down a little bit into more detail for your edification. Number 1, officer makes an initial size up, occupancy, construction, height, observed conditions, action plan, and address command, what it's named, and where you're going to put it. Firefighters remove tools and hose from both 3-inch banks. Crew removes deluge and stand from the engine. Firefighters place equipment at the deluge to include 2 SCBAs, lights, spanner wrench, self-rescue tool, and a double mail. Full PPE to include SCBA must be worn. Crew does not have to breathe supplied air during this evolution. Firefighter secures hose on the ground and signals the driver engineer to drive to the hydrant. Firefighter properly attaches the deluge to its base and positions it for ground operations. Firefighters create loops in the supply line, creating the ram's horn, passing the coupling under the supply line, and make connections to the deluge. Driver engineer spots the engine for soft sleeve hookup, sets air brake and wheel chocks. Driver engineer and your choice of either officer or firefighter make soft suction hookup to the hydrant and the engine intake. Make appropriate discharge connections, ensuring all connections are tight. Driver engineer puts engine in pump gear and charges correct lines with proper pressures. Driver engineer or other firefighter walks supply lines toward the deluge looking for kinks, leaks, or other problems. And that will conclude the scenario at the time that water is flowing at the proper pressures.
Engine 11 is on the scene of a 3-story multi-family residence center core configuration of wood frame construction. We have heavy fire and smoke involving 4 units on the opposite side of the structure. Engine 11 is going to go into defensive mode. We're going to take a reverse to a deluge gun. Dispatch, this is a working fire. Engine 11 will be command. We'll call this jet wing command.
Engine 11 arrives on scene. Time starts when the first person steps off of the truck. Time would start now. Crew is exited. They'll be taking the equipment off of the truck, starting with the deluge. It's important to work well as a crew and make sure that all tasks are accomplished. As you can see, they've set their tool cache off to the side. 2 firefighters are in SCBA as required. As the driver continues on to make soft sleeve hookup, the 2 individuals left at the deluge will go ahead and make their ram's horns and make the connections down here as shown earlier. Again, placing the couplings underneath the hose so the weight of the hose itself will help to hold the deluge into place. Connections to the deluge all look well. Those firefighters will stay and monitoring that. The other connections are taking place at the engine and the hydrant. Driver engineer is working on making soft sleeve hookups while the other firefighter was breaking the connections from the hose bed and making those discharge connections. Call for water over that when you guys are, and yell it.
Driver 11 from Captain 11, ready for water.
Okay, soft sleeve connection has been done. Water's been called for. He's verifying water. Lines will be charged. Firefighter walking the lines back, addressing kinks that are in the hose. All right, time would stop now where we have a full flow, and we'll double check with the driver on pressures. Even though the time has stopped, it's important to continue addressing all of the kinks in the hose and make sure that it is all laid out the way that it should be for an actual fire. Pressures?
120.
All right, good pressures. We can go ahead and shut this Evolution down. And that's the way that this Evolution should look when you come out to do time drills with Colorado Springs Fire Department. That's a wrap.